This is the role of NGOs in assistive technology dissemination. And I have some wonderful analysts, Dr. Jeet Oberoi. Dr. Jeet Oberoi, a psychologist with an extensive experience of 23 years in helping children with learning disabilities and development delays, academically and behaviorally. Jeet Oberoi, is he around? Oh, there you are. Jeet is coming. Please take a seat. We have Namita Jacob, Dr. Namita Jacob, an esteemed educational specialist with over 3 decades of experience in transformative force in developing sustainable programs. Hi, Jeet. Sit down. Jeet, sorry, Jeet. I called you Jeet. Namita, welcome. I think we'll let everybody come. Next one is Dr. S. Sankaraman. He's an Indian disability activist and social entrepreneur. He serves as an honorary secretary of Amar Seva Sangam, a disability management non-governmental organization. Okay, so Dr. Shankaraman, maybe you can sit. You can sit here. You can sit here. I can sit here. Next is Syamdev Mukherjee, an experienced project specialist with a demonstrated history of working in the non-profit organization management industry. Skilled in non-profit organizations, management, business analysis, leadership, and team management. Strong program and project management professional with bachelor's degree focused on English language and literature from Indira Gandhi Open University. And okay. And the last person is Madhavi. I remember her from the video that she took last year going around the research park on the 3rd floor. Despite her challenges faced from childhood polio, has become a senior manager at Standard Chartered Scope International. When faced with life-threatening condition, she opted for physiotherapy and hydrotherapy, which transformed her life. The experience inspired her to launch Yes, We Too Can, an initiative advocating for disability sports and offering support the physically challenged. So these are the panelists. What do we want to do in this panel? All these people have huge experience working with people with disability. We need to understand from them how can assistive technology really help the people with disability. That's number one task. And number two, I will be provocative. I think one of the key role is whenever a young entrepreneur, or I'll say even a senior entrepreneur, I don't want to leave the senior entrepreneur, comes with any assistive technology device which they think it will help the people with disability or geriatrics. I think one of the role of NGOs is to get it used, get the right feedback, whether it is working, not working, helping, not helping, whether it is affordable, not affordable, and if things are right, how do you get it to the maximum number of people? This is what I consider the role, my limited understanding of the role of the NGOs. So from that point perspective, I'm going to ask one after another, each of you, when we open up, we have about an hour, 10 minutes, and we don't want to go beyond. I'll try to end it by 6:50 or so, and therefore I'll start with maybe requesting you, sir, to start.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rajaji.
Oh, he has a mic? Okay.
Mr. Rajaji is a great gentleman whom I admire for several years now for his great, wonderful work. And the question that he has posed is that the role of NGO. NGO has quite a number of roles to be played in terms of assistive technology. The number one is that assisting the entrepreneurs in evaluating their products and making them available at an affordable prices to the people with disabilities. That is number one. Number two is that we need to rehabilitate and train the people with disabilities to use these assistive devices. So that is a very important component of an NGO. We have to skill the people with disabilities to use the device. For example, when the Neo motion wheelchairs came through, we need to train a bit the people with spinal cord injuries to use the vehicle. Similarly, when we have an Android technology that has revolutionized the people with disabilities, particularly persons like me, to make us more productive and efficient in terms of delivering our services to people. We have to reskill ourselves, and this reskilling is one of the important role of an NGO in preparing the people with disabilities to use these assistive devices and later utilize it in a much better way. And several products have come to our place in Amasiva Sangam for user trials, including Neo motion, including the stand-up wheelchairs that came up earlier. And now other products like the RD is also coming up. So NGOs have a very good, they are a very good place for testing and doing the trial runs. And before that, while designing the assistive device, that is also a very important stage. When people from IIT came to our place for the standing wheelchair and also for the Neo motion specification, they had a good survey of all the service users in our place. They asked them what are their priorities, what are their requirements, what challenges they are facing. So that was a very good way of going forward, because knowing the user needs gives the first step about developing an assistive technology. But even today, when I have a problem with this muscular dystrophy, my range of movements of hands and fingers are limited. I used to tell people about my needs about using an Android phone or Android tablet with a limited range of fingers and hands, which occupational therapists cannot do beyond a certain level, but assistive technology can bring it more efficient for people like me. So it is an end-to-end game from the perspective of the NGO, right from assessing the needs and also assisting the entrepreneurs in developing a suitable design. Even the Kadavai Motors, which prepared a motorized wheelchair, they had a very extensive R&D with Amasiva for nearly 2 to 3 years before developing a prototype battery operated wheelchair. That was way back in 2001, 2002. So that's my take on the NGO.
Thank you very much. I now request Madhvi, maybe open up and then.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So I will explain to you what we have been doing through our trust. First thing, I feel that awareness creation, that is very, very important. That's why we have been trying to give talks at various, particularly engineering colleges, so to motivate the students to work on this type of assistive technologies. And my experience is like some of the students came back and told, for them it's like a project. They need to complete that project. But when we meet them and explain that how it will be useful in our day-to-day life, then they understood that it's not just one product. It's making one person, it's empowering one person. So once that type of realization comes into the minds of our students, that will give us wonderful results. So that awareness creation among the students who are working in that will help a lot. And that awareness, even the people who are working in this assistive technologies field, uh, all of you know that we will talk about this problem statement, all those things. So once they come to know what they need to work, and that will be great. Another thing, my suggestion to NGOs is, when we get sponsors, don't just like that give. I will see so many times in newspapers giving one common size, general standard size wheelchairs, giving away to the people. I don't like that at all, because these wheelchairs are should be customized. I can't
Yeah.
use standard wheelchairs. Definitely, every person with disabilities will have some unique requirement. So I sincerely request all the NGOs, whenever any sponsors approach you, please tell them this is the requirement. Generally, what will happen? The sponsors will be in hurry, because they need to complete by this March or by this. And for doing all this activity, first we need to find out beneficiaries, and then this manufacturer needs to be in touch with each and every user and get all the details requirements. For doing this one, it will take more time. So because of this pressure and all these things, so sponsors also, my sincere request to you all is, when you are supporting your end product, that end beneficiary should get optimum benefit out of that. So please ensure that one. And then another thing, as NGO, we need to this existing so many assistive technologies are there. So how many people knew about that? So we did a program. We invited so many assistive technologies, and try to create awareness. What are the existing technologies available? So awareness about the available technologies among the people who needs that one, that is one thing. And people who are making, like particularly students, they need to know. Initially, sir, when I started, I used to go to colleges and give talks, and they got inspired, and some of the students did projects also. Finally, what happened? Those projects are in that college record room. That's it. But students put lot of effort, and the outside whatever devices we are seeing, it's expensive. But those students did with very less expenditure. But they didn't come out. Then I tried to check with the manufacturers. So then these students, these universities, educational institutions, and manufacturing industries both should come together. That end product, whatever the student put all their efforts, that should come out into the market and reach the end user. So organizations like IIT Madras, they are doing wonderful work in this field. I know Sujata madam also is here. So they are trying to encourage students, and also finding manufacturers and bringing together to bring that out, that ultimate product. So that type of effort is required. Not one organization, one IITM or other IITs, they alone, if they do, it's not sufficient. More and more such bodies should come and to bring that coordination.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Dr. Geet Oberoi, can you please continue same vein and talk about your initial remarks? Yes, press that.
All right. Okay, so namaskar everyone. So my thing is this: as far as the role of NGOs is concerned, my forte in the disability sector is specific learning disabilities. And I think, as a lot of us here in the auditorium know, that it's an invisible disability. So my first role in the field is that I need to make sure my parents, when I say my parents, my kids' parents out there, and even regular teachers in schools have an idea about what this disability looks like, because it's invisible, you know. So that is my first and foremost role in where I work, you know, the grassroots. And so the second point is the grassroots point, which I'm telling you. You know, this whole notion about if you're an NGO, phir to you're working only with the strata, which is the downtrodden, you know. So be it. I mean, that's a decision I have taken. That's a decision I think all NGOs who are working have taken, to work with the have-nots, or who don't have access to you know, to bigger things in life, to better things in life, so to speak. So from that point of view, going out there, empowering them with not only knowledge, but also widening their horizons in terms of what all is possible for them to do for their children. I mean, I work with lot of parents, who are, vendors, or they are the thela walas. They're going and their kids go to school, to a government school in Delhi, and they don't have any idea about learning disabilities. For all, I mean, for them it's nothing because their child can read, write, the child can walk, the child can talk. तो ये learning disability क्या होता है? What is it? It's nothing. वो ठीक है, ये सब बकवास है. So all these kind of things we get to hear. So yes, so the role, depending upon what disability, what sector you guys are catering. When I say you guys, I mean people in the disability sector. Our responsibilities, our functions can vary. There will be a definite overlap. Like ma'am said, awareness from her point of view, but awareness from my point of view might be a little different. So one is the awareness, yes. Secondly is who's your target? Is it the family? Is it the teacher? In my case, it is multifaceted. I have to empower the teacher because it's a learning disabilities. The signs and the symptoms are first prominently seen in the school, in the classroom. So I have to make sure that I not only empower the parent, but I also empower the teacher. So from that point of view, the teacher has to be empowered. A regular teacher, I'm saying. I'm not talking about special educators. I'm not talking about people who are already in the field. I'm talking about regular aam insan. That person has to be empowered enough to identify. Dekh ke. I'm not asking you guys to do my work for me. I'm not asking you to do diagnosis, but I'm asking you to just pick up those signs. Like the movie Tare Zameen Par, Amir Khan's movie. I don't know how many of you have seen that movie, So that movie did a lot for us, and I'm grateful because I couldn't have done that in, 20 years. But now almost every person on the roads, scooter wala, thela wala, or a CEO of a company knew what dyslexia would look like, right? So that is what we need to do. So depending upon what, Professor Ashok, is the field you're working in terms of disability, I think our functions just vary a little bit. And of course, the assistive technology which we, Orchids Foundation, has built is a screening app, for specific learning disabilities. It's a very, very simple screening app, which was, the whole reason of why I made that app was because sitting in Delhi, Chennai, Bombay, you have people working. Huh? We have psychologists, we have fancy neuropsychotherapists, we have everybody there. But what happens to if a parent is, in a small B town or C town, where they have not heard of dyslexia, where the teachers have no clue, where the parents have no clue. I used to have parents trotting, in summer vacations, pulling the kids along, कि गीत मैम कुछ कर दो इन बच्चों के साथ, वो पढ़ नहीं सकती है. So there has to be something to empower a parent or a teacher sitting hundreds of kilometers away so that at least they get on track and they say, okay, what's the next step? Where should I go? So that first step is what we wanted, to build for anybody to use across regions, across languages, across stratas, in terms of class stratas. And that's what we have done. It's called First Screen. And
Thank you very much. Can I request Swamdev Mukherjee to say opening remarks?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Professor. So, to start with, I would like to tell that I represent an organization called Enable India. It has a identity over the last 24 years. We have worked for economic empowerment and dignity for people with disability. So, as an organization, we have grown and we have realized that as we grow as an organization, we have to take more responsibility to innovation. Because unless new ideas and new creations come, the problems lying in the grassroots level will never be answered. During our COVID time, we started with a small bit of journey. That journey has given us the idea that if we identify the solutions, basic solutions of the problems of the grassroots people from and by the grassroots system, that is quite an outstanding idea. We launched a project called Project Discovery, which is a project of collecting assistive solutions in video form. From there, we have developed this year, just not even a month ago, we have developed a AI-based search mechanism which has the capability to search assistive solutions for the whole ecosystem. And we don't want to own any data. We just tell that if you think that we can work together, join us in this journey of co-creating together and sharing together. Because the problem I was hearing that many of the speakers was telling that information is a problem area. How to get information to search what is available in the grassroots, what is available in the top of the pyramid. There, we brought Disabilities Innovative Solutions Hub, which at this point in time is in the MVP phase, and we've launched the program, and that gives us the opportunity to support the whole ecosystem and make the sector bring together the concepts, ideas, and solutions for people with disabilities and the people who are working in the field of disabilities and potential entrepreneurs who wants to come and join the sector to make something in their life. So this is an innovation journey that we have embarked on, and we are quite confident that with all of our support together, we will make sure that this particular vision is spread not only in India, but across the world.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Finally, Dr. Namita.
So what is the role of an NGO in this whole assistive technology space? I've been thinking as everybody was speaking, and I think many of my colleagues have already said this. Our primary role as a non-government, as an organization serving people with disabilities, is to do exactly that. We serve them. And so our primary function in this whole space is to be the voice, is to be the people who take responsibility in noticing, in articulating, and carrying, packaging sort of the problem, the question, the ask, so that technology solutions can be created. Yes, certainly, we can, use our connections to enable testing, we can use our connections to enable training, but that's not our primary function. Our primary function is to ensure that people whom we serve, their specific needs, their concerns are heard. That there is a way. Often the community that we work with are people who have maybe unique ways of communicating. And so a lot of what we do is to be the bridge, to be the people who can carry the problem across. Often, since I'm involved in a lot of the discussions and the projects here at IIT, the project approach is not uncommon. The funder-driven approach is not uncommon. It's a class project, it's a PhD project, it's a something project. Then it's the orientation and the goal of the student is different. So as you were saying, ma'am, actually interacting and meeting with the end user, not at the testing phase, but at the conceptualizing phase, will make a world of difference. So that, for me, I think if you ask what is an essential role of a non-government organization serving people with disabilities, it would be that, to ensure that we serve as that bridge.
So I think this is a big problem that I often hear, that people who work on technology push a product, whether it is useful or not useful. Then there are also variety of organizations. In the earlier session, somebody was sort of saying that don't just buy and give it out. Try to figure out the usefulness. Can I make a very bold statement, and I want a reaction from all five of you? Do not provide to a user anything free. You can charge them very small, 100 rupees, 500 rupees, 1000 rupees, 10,000 rupees, depending on what the product is and depending on their ability to pay. But don't give them anything totally free, because free is could be pushed. Even if one has to pay 100 rupees, if it is not useful, they will not take it. Can I say something like this be adopted? Can NGO adopt this? One by one, whoever wants to make a comment. Yes?
Yes, sir, 100% I agree with you. Some contribution should be there from the end user side. Otherwise, they will just like that take it. Okay, anyway, it's coming free.
Yeah.
They will take it. After that, whether they will use it or throw it, we don't know. So I agree with you.
What about, yes?
Yeah, so in my personal note, I would like to say that nothing comes free. And I would like to quote a Sound of Music song,
Yes.
nothing comes from nothing.
Yes.
Nothing ought to be. So in that way, we have to understand that giving it free is a bad economy, and we cannot do so. Accountability has to be there. We need to build an infrastructure so that the buying power to the person with disabilities is given. And once that buying power is given, I'll just take 2 minutes, Professor, with your permission, tell a small bit of story about my journey.
But it's quick and
Yeah, 2 minutes. That's 120 seconds, Professor. So I was in Kolkata. I used to earn 10,000 rupees. I didn't have buying power. I switched to Bangalore, getting a package which is more than sustainable. I can secure some money to save. And having a caregiver is extra bit of money that I need to pay another person. With that, sustainability is very difficult. But now I am sustainable and I am having that power to buy. So it's the responsibility of the person with disabilities that you need to come out of the comfort zone to own yourself and your responsibility to a certain extent, and you will, in the journey, get hands in front of you who will you up.
Geet, will you like to comment on this?
So, from all the rational thoughts I have had over the years, which are frankly not many, so this thing about, no free lunches and stuff and all, I agree. And, if you give anybody anything free, the value is somewhere not, understood. But having said this, Professor Shok, I have also realized that from where I am coming, I am giving a screening tool or a way for a parent to identify or to acknowledge कि मेरे बच्चे में एक disability है. A lot of parents would, keep procrastinating something like this. And if I was to say that I'm going to add a financial burden also on you after the psychological and the emotional dhakka I'm giving you, it's a possibility that the window of early intervention I
No, so
might lose.
I agree. For any testing,
Huh.
any
So-
testing, what I'm saying is not applicable. I'm talking about assistive technologies which help you function. So for testing, I completely agree.
So that
We
is
must
my only
provide this.
thing.
Okay.
Yes,
I
Namita.
have to jump in here. I agree. I mean, again, yes, absolutely no free lunches and the whole works. And generally, I think everybody is in agreement with the idea that yes, payment, some amount of payment is essential even for yourself to value something, right? So all that is good. There will always be caveats. Yes, testing is a caveat. Another is what we function under the assumption that a parent or a person with a disability will take what is important for them. But if it is a person, if it's an individual, an adult who's making a decision, that's entirely their choice. If it's a child, it's dependent on what the parents value. And that's another story. So there are certain things a parent will value, all parents will value. There are certain things parents will value, but not enough to pay for, which may be essential for child growth and development. So there will be, in general, we all agree with you, yes, payment for a product is something that's important for multiple reasons, with the understanding that certain things we do have to make a
No, we clearly
pass.
there. But before I comment further, can I request Shankaram?
Yes. It is the payment for the services or the assistive technology is a double-edged sword, kind of. A very useful and very effective assistive device. For example, when we had our experience with motorized wheelchairs that came up into the market somewhere in 2005, 2006. Those were the periods where people were unable to afford these motorized wheelchairs, and we need to find some way to reach them to the people with disabilities, because the people with disabilities realize that they need it and they want it, and there is a demand already in existence, but the affordability is not there. So when you price something like 50,000 or 60,000 and ask them to pay, the affordability is in there, then at that point of time there is a need to kind of support this demand to be met. And as the economy grows, as we develop, our country is surging forward, the purchasing power is increasing. Nowadays, people are finding it easy to buy the products. Even the neo-motion vehicles, people are now in the position, our own people in our organization, and they are able to buy this product. And in fact, now the evolution of technologies have come in our assistive technology also. Like when they were asking for motorized wheelchair in those days, nowadays people who got the motorized wheelchair want to switch to neo-motion wheelchairs. So there is another step forward in the technology which they like and which has created a good demand system. And whenever there is a demand system in place and people have affordability, then definitely the payment should be there. Only then the vendors, the people who manufacture the devices, will be held responsible, and they will be accountable for the quality and the services that they deliver.
Yeah.
So
Thank
I
you.
agree with that.
Thank you. I clearly recognize that there are many, many people who will require some kind of support to be able to buy things. There is no ifs and buts. But what I want to do is that I would like to see that empowerment, that that support can be provided, but they should take a call whether with that support will they be willing to purchase that. Now there are of course exceptions in testing and a few other things. I'm talking about it because very often I say, well, this is extremely useful. You buy, and I have now got money from some CSR, and I'll push it to you. That hurts rather than helps. How do you, within your field, ensure that for whatever support is provided, financial support is provided to obtain a device, that you are only providing useful devices?
No, I will come first.
But please, my request is nobody should, because we have a limited time. If you speak for more than a minute in this,
No, I
then
will take
please.
30 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah, it should not be donor driven. It should be driven by the requirement of the people and not donor driven.
Thank you. Any? Yes?
It should be absolutely donor driven, and study should be like when you launch a rocket. People with disability need support. And if you think that how do we launch the satellite? In multiple stages, multiple engines give the velocity and they fall off. And eventually, when the designated orbit is reached, the satellite is independent. That is the support which is needed for the people with disabilities in stages, not in whole life purpose.
Very good. Very good. You want to say something?
So yeah, exactly what he's given a fantastic analogy, yes, an example. So yes, this is what it is. So from my point of view, from my point of view, what I sell is services, right? I'm a special educator and I have children coming to me to get remediation, right? So what is my aim? My goal is to make sure that down the road, down in 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, 8 months, a year, this child is able to attack that book on his own, right? Exactly what you said, that we need to make sure that our long-term goal is to make that child independent in this very skill that there is a deficit. So for that time, in term time, they give money. Of course, they pay for it, the parents pay for it. But, wherever the need is that, parent is not able to pay, there's a sliding fee structure or so on and so forth. So that happens. But yes, the goal has to be that the child, wherever the deficit is, that is kind of filled up and,
Thank you. Thank you. Namita, you want to add?
I'll quote Sabria, who said, "Empower us before you try and empower us through technology." I think that's a very major goal. If we really teach our students to, to recognize when they need help, when something is helpful, how to ask for it, and how to refuse it, that's a life skill. And that's an essential life skill for people with disabilities, particularly people with more complex disabilities. If you create a group of people, if you infuse your interactions always this way, then we never need to worry about it, because you will come up with someone who says, hey, that looks nice, great, it's free, but I don't want it.
Thank you. You want to say something?
Yeah, same thing. I agree with them. So I give example about our wheelchair basketball. So NGOs, when we are working with on any projects with our people, so depending on their requirements, suppose when we work with wheelchair basketball players, they need equipment. Sports wheelchair is required. So we initially, when we started, we didn't have funding. We started with the basic model only. When we took them for international competitions, as you told, empower us. So our players saw that what type of advanced chairs other players are using. So then they came up with those requests. Madam, we need such type of wheelchairs. Their wheelchair is having this facility, that facility. So then, when we approach our sponsors and explain to them, we can show to them tomorrow how they became international wheelchair basketball players.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you. Yes, I completely agree. I think. Let me take another. I'll take 3 examples. I think the 3 products, I'll deliberately take them. One of them, of course, is a wheelchair, new motion wheelchair. I think all of us kind of understand and all of us realize that it's a good product. The second could be a product which, for example, for children, will be able to identify fairly quickly that they have dyslexia. Fairly quickly, we should be able to screen children in all schools and be able to identify. That's a step number 1. After that, there are many things. I'll take a third device, which I have been told by that for children who may have hearing deficiency, when they are born, soon after their birth, a testing can be done to check if they have a hearing disability. This is another product that we were told about and we are working on this. Let's assume these 3 products are working. Whether they are working or not working is a separate, but let's assume that we have 3 wonderful products which are working. How will you help? How will you now help? I'll ask each of the 5 of you to see that everyone who needs either of these 3 things to be done, 2 testing and 1 a device, get there. How everyone in India is able to get there. What will you do towards this? Maybe you can start with.
yeah. So, one thing is, here there are different products and we know the purpose. So, first thing we need to educate. Suppose if I take that hearing aid, that one, we need to create awareness among parents. These type of devices are there. You can try this one, check whether your child is having any such type of challenges. So if we come to know at the early age, then there might be a solution for that. So that always I talk about awareness creation only. So if we know the target group, so among those people we need to create awareness. This type of device is there. Recently, I'll tell you one example. We are arranging.
Yeah, but I am asking, we want everyone in India to get there. Get these. Over the next, let's assume that we have 3 good devices which all of us find is good. I want to see how does everyone in India get there. That's the kind of thing that I'm asking.
Okay.
Maybe we can move on, you can come back.
So, before everyone gets the product, ensuring the sustainability of the startups is very important, sir. Because that is a very important thing that I need to mention here. I must mention here.
Service. Yeah.
Because no, not service. For example, 1 lakh product is sold. Startup could not sustain itself. Products are wonderful. And they run into a problem. Now I'll come to your question, sir. How I disseminate the products to the level.
No. I think, I'm sorry, my probably question is not being answered. Let's assume the 3 products are available.
Yeah.
Somewhat affordable, somewhat not affordable. Let's assume all of us like that and certify that these are good products.
Yeah.
1, we should be able to screen every child to see that they don't have dyslexia. 1, we should be able to screen every child that they, fairly soon after their birth, that they don't have hearing deficiency. 3rd, we have a great wheelchair which can also enable us to not only move within a premises, but from one premises to another. I'm just taking 3 examples. I could have added another. Let's assume we have. Question is, how do we get it to everyone in India who needs it?
It's the job of the
That's the
government.
question there. Namita.
It's the job of the government. Sorry. Screening, Ministry of Health needs to wake up and do it. If we've worked on creating the product, it's hardly the responsibility of the people. This is the responsibility of the health department. Okay, so that's done. That's done and dusted.
Demand and obtaining
No,
some
it's not
support from
demand.
government.
No.
is-
Sorry, one sec. Let me explain. To ensure the well-being of children is the responsibility of the government of a nation. The Ministry of Health has been created for this purpose. It is their responsibility. The end. There's really no discussion beyond that. In terms of education and early identification, again, it's a partnership between Ministry of Health and Ministry of Education. It's their job description. So again, there should be no description. There should be no discussion. The third product that you're talking about, which enables a person to move freely within an environment and outside an environment. Now, that's the one that really spins on the question, how do we make this work? Again, it's a shared responsibility. The problem of mobility is one of an environment. It's not one of a person. So to require a person to bear an entire cost or to take on the entire responsibility is too much. There has to be a share. So as we have done, again, since NeoMotion is the example you've taken, the approach is a very good one. You have people who can work. As an organization that wants people who work, let's step up.
Thank you. Geet?
Okay, so we are talking about screening dyslexia here, and so who's the best person? Who's the best person to identify? It's going to be the teacher. So it has to be awareness of the teachers. Early intervention awareness, that means primary school teachers. So if you bring it down, that means that there should be about 10 to 15 teachers in every school, primary school teachers, which need to be trained, teacher training. Teacher training is the mandate of all the state governments, whether it's Tamil Nadu state government or Delhi state government and so on and so forth. Dyslexia is learning disabilities, which is part of the PWD Act, which is part of one of 21 disabilities recognized by the country. At the end of the day, if the government mandates that all schools, when the child is in class 1, all children have to be screened. That's it. That's all we need.
Sankarama?
Yeah, it's a question of demand and supply. So the entire country needs a huge requirement of the assistive devices, whether it is hearing or whether it is screening the people with dyslexia or availability of mobility devices like NeoMotion. But will the supply be able to manage the demand? And there should be competition also built up in the society. So there are more NeoMotion kind of vehicles come up. And it is a question of the socio-economic development that takes place, which will ensure the last mile delivery of requirements, because it is a collective effort. No single NGO or a government or any particular stakeholder can achieve this. It is a question of the overall ecosystem.
What I will do from my organization and specifically my team, I have a database of 200 organizations around India. I have a database of kind of 60,000 people in India with disabilities. Primary information dissemination does not happen. We think that everything is to be given to the government. So the things that are in our hand, let's do that first. Let those 100 NGOs know about this availability. Let information be trickled down to that place. Let those 60,000 people know that this is available. Let those doctors know that this is available. Let those professionals know that this is available. On the other hand, connect to the Commissioner Office of Disability and put a request that all the state commissioners can be sent a note on this, follow up, make sure that goes to at least all the states, and out of those 29 states, if one state takes it up, our work is done.
Thank you. Thank you. You want to add something? I know I started with you and
Yeah. So, yeah, I agree with what he suggested. So at least as NGOs within our areas, what best we can do. And also more and more manufacturers are required for that product. As you told, it should reach each and every person means. So government should give more incentives for those manufacturers to encourage them to take it up, because many people I saw that thinking about assisted technology, oh, it's no profit will be there. That's the attitude. So more support should come from government. NGOs and government corporates needs to work together.
Yeah, thank you very much. I also, to some extent, agree with what you have said. Uh, my belief is that hoping uh, hearing ability for a child, I think this should be mandate of, just like testing of vaccine. Vaccine testing is a mandate for a child below a certain years. I think that should be done. I agree that should be there. And if budgets are required, if somebody or other not have it, we figure that out. Similarly, I will also agree with the testing for dyslexia. I think this should be done right in the beginning of your school. In every school, it should be done. And one should be able to do that. But then I deliberately took another product, which was a somewhat more expensive product and different product. But one could talk about 4 other products like that. So then it becomes our role becomes very critical. We must be very clear that this device is very useful. Then we try to figure out who all can afford it. Whoever all can afford it, great. Now, for example, what we did, we found that the new motion wheelchair is 1 lakh rupees. We are trying to reduce the cost. By the way, what we did is that we increased the battery, which used to last for 25 kilometers, now we have made it 60 kilometers. That we could do, because that's a technology work we could do. But the price has remained same, 1 lakh rupees. Now, maybe 1 lakh rupees people can afford, one cannot afford. If they get a job, if they get a good job, like some IT job. In fact, I have been telling Akhila that I would have liked to see 10 people working with Neomotion wheelchair coming to Research Park and working in one of the companies out here. Because anybody who works in these companies out here can afford to spend 1 lakh rupees. But they may not have upfront 1 lakh rupees. So then we will require loans. And then we have to work with banks or other institutions to provide low-cost loans. That's one approach that I will do. Second approach that I will sort of say that, okay, there are many people, for example, a tailor said that I love it, I want to use it, but sir, price is even eventually to pay 1 lakh is too much. There, I'll say yes, some grant either from the government or from any organization can be obtained. In fact, I again told Akhila that from my income, I like to donate 25,000 rupees every year or 50,000 rupees per year. Instead of paying tax, can government give me I give this 50,000 rupees for a very specific purpose, and government give me a tax break, 100% tax break. Why can't something like that be done? Because that itself will mean that one will be able to do that. And finally, of course, the government. So whatever we cannot provide, get the government to provide that. So I would like to use a mix, but again, what I am pointing out, we can talk, but unless we take the responsibility of what you mentioned, we have to create the database. We have to see that everybody who has any problem, we are able to reach them, able to show them the product, and tell them the usefulness. That's what I strongly believe in. But maybe last 1 minute each, final comments, because we are run out of time. You want to start? Start with you.
Me? Okay.
Overall, this is the last comment.
Thank you, sir.
I don't want to take it longer because you see the crowd already very down, so I don't want to. Yes.
Actually, it's quite a thought-provoking discussion for us in the panel itself. Because as organizations, we have our priorities. And there has to be a point of consensus which needs to come up to sustain the disability sector as a whole. Because when we work, we see lots of organization falling off the table, even though we know that they can create an immense amount of value. I, as a person with disabilities, have seen this disability sector as fragmented sector. It pains me a lot. Working in the space is difficult, I know. But if we somehow can align our thoughts, keeping our core in our work, that would be the best thing that we can do and create a collective. And when we create a collective, the 15% of total population that amalgamates together, we don't have to create any policy, we don't have to lobby.
Thank you very much. Amita, your final.
I've been sitting here mildly amused that you're telling a whole bunch of NGOs that we should have commitment and be open to personal
Can you please-
donations. I think all of us got to where we got to and did what we did because of that. Yes, I agree. We need to pull together more strongly. But I will still say that our role is to partner with the government. If you really want to take something across the country, and if you think the government is not functional, then make it functional. After all, it is supposed to be our government.
Throw the
Throw the government out, become the government, whatever it is that is required. But to take a movement across the country and sustain it in the absence of an educated, empowered, and committed government is never going to happen.
But
Don't
I want
think
to-
it won't.
one second.
Hold on. I need to say this too, that if you look at Kerala government, you will see a government that has actually started to really do something substantial, mind-boggling, because they have the commitment.
I
So
want
it
to
is
point
possible.
out, please look at the total budget for this sector that
Yes.
the central government allocates.
Yes,
Just look
I
at it.
agree. I agree. I'm not saying it's
it is
a good government.
Such pittance.
Yes.
I don't, it's sad.
Where is your voice, Professor? When you have a voice in the government, use it for our field.
Thank you.
All
you.
of us have used our voices.
Thank you.
We'd love to have
Thank
more
you.
support.
Yeah, so every one of us are talking about empowerment, right? So organizations, either it may be corporates or other organizations, there is a big need for creating awareness among them about the available assistive technologies. Right now, what I'm doing, even today, some organizations are thinking that how can I recruit a blind person? How can I recruit some other person with some other types of disability? So the more we create among these organizations which can employ people about these assistive technologies availability, definitely that will help in empowering.
Thank you. Shankaram.
Yeah, secure technology is the future, and it is going to transform people with disabilities, and its potentials are enormous, and it will definitely improve the potentials and the ability to get the best of people like us is very high. And therefore, as Nimita has said, that government should play a very important role, because it is ultimately the government which is most powerful and which is most resourceful. And we have to work with the government alongside as a partner and take this forward.
Thank you. Geet.
So I want two things. Firstly, as like everybody else, fund, because assistive technology is very expensive and updates happen like yesterday, and you have to keep updating yourself, and I don't have. So yes, CSR is wonderful, donations is wonderful, but CSR is also one big khapla. I don't want to go there. That's another workshop, conference altogether. And the second thing, sir, I want easy access to IIT Research Park. I want
Yes.
IIT.
Let's meet tomorrow morning. I think with this, I like to wind up.